It's official, my hair is a bird's nest. Hey guys, it's Jamie. So I think a lot of people, some people, me at least, would admit to hoping that transitioning would do things or solve things that in reality it can't. I started transitioning over 6.5 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. On one hand, it feels like this has just been me for my entire life, minus the beard when I was a child. And on the other hand, it still feels like it's quite fresh and I could have just transitioned like 6 months ago. But anyway, over the years, I have been wrong about a lot of things, made a lot of wrong assumptions or thought things were gonna happen when they wouldn't and just stuff like that. And as a consequence, I've learned a lot of things as well. Some things that I would love to share with you guys today. Hopefully. Did that sound big-headed? I didn't mean it to. I really don't know everything. So some of the things I'm going to talk about relate specifically to the social side of transitioning, so presenting and living as your correct gender, and other things to the more medical side, like taking hormones and having surgeries if that's something you want to do. I'm not really going to like break it down specifically, and I'm not going to talk about testosterone very much because I have already done a video on stuff that it won't change. Link in the description if you want to check it out. But yeah, it's just a general kind of overview of things that I thought transitioning might help with. I've seen a lot of people think that transitioning will help them with these things and stuff, or have these assumptions about transitioning, and it's not always correct. I am definitely not saying that transitioning does nothing. It does a hell of a lot of amazing things, but it's not magic and it does have its limitations on what it can do, and the changes it can make to your life and to you will be specific to things about transitioning and being trans. So yeah, let's get started. There's not many points, so I'm not gonna do a whole like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing with the fingers, which I often get wrong, so we're just gonna jump straight in. Firstly, because transitioning is focused on that one aspect of your life of being trans, it can sometimes make other things that are not trans related a little bit more obvious in your life. And maybe that you realize that certain things you have going on, for example, anxieties, that you maybe thought were transition related or related to you being transgender aren't actually, and they're a completely separate thing that need a separate way of dealing with them. And sometimes that can be hard to deal with, because I think before transitioning, I certainly thought that a lot of things that were going on in my life were all just related to the fact I was trans. But then through transitioning, realizing that they're not, and they kind of need to be tackled separately, can be a little bit tricky and a little bit disheartening, because you're not quite feeling the way you thought you might feel. But it's good to know, and it's good to be able to realize these things and see them as separate things and deal with them that way. So yeah, it is important to realize that there may be underlying things going on and stuff that is in your life that won't be helped by you transitioning. Secondly, transitioning does not come with any guarantees whatsoever in any section of transitioning or any part of it. It's not guaranteed to make you happy. It's not guaranteed to make you be read as a correct gender all the time. It's not guaranteed to make you feel more comfortable about your body or get rid of gender dysphoria completely. There are just no guarantees with it. You're also not guaranteed to have the same amount of changes on hormones or in the same time frame or have the same surgery results as other people you've seen. Every transition is unique, just like every person is unique. Obviously, there are some running themes and some things that are very, very common and very likely to happen, and other things that are very uncommon, but there is also a fair amount of variation between person to person. So yeah, I think transitioning is just something you need to treat as a process that is yours, and it's completely unique to you, and it will be completely unique to your situation, whether that be the social side of things, like how people react when you're coming out and how often you're read as the correct gender before you start any hormones and stuff. And the same goes for if you want to start hormones. All those different things, the kind of changes, how fast it happens, and surgery results will all just depend on you and your personal journey. And a final thing that I thought of that it doesn't change, or at least things that don't just happen automatically, it won't change without a little bit of kind of conscious effort, are things like your body language and the way you speak. Obviously, if you're going to take something like testosterone, it is highly likely to make your voice drop, but it might not necessarily change how you speak, if that makes sense. And if your mannerisms are something that you are self-conscious about, transitioning isn't going to like automatically change them. Hormones won't change things like body language and stuff like that. It will very likely take a bit of conscious effort in order to change these things. I can't speak. In order to change these things. For the record though, there is absolutely no need to change your body language or the way you speak or your mannerisms or anything like that. I personally used to be so self-conscious about how I spoke with my hands so much and the way I moved when I talked and just moved in general and the way I spoke, because people told me I behaved in a very like feminine way, and they still do. People are like, oh, I can tell you're trans because you're really feminine in the way you behave. But it's who I am, and I don't want to change it. It doesn't change my gender. It's not a reflection on my sexual orientation. It's nothing like that. It's just the way I behave, and it's totally fine. You just do you, and you do what makes you comfortable. That was a much longer side note than expected. Now, guys, I'm really sorry if this video is sounding very negative and like, oh, transitioning won't do that and it won't solve this. I still wholeheartedly believe that transitioning is an amazing thing, and it does change so much. It's changed my life completely, and for the positive. I think I just wanted to make this video as like a gentle nod to some of the things that people may be expecting to change, or maybe under the impression that it's going to help with, but that it doesn't always. So yeah, although it can do a lot of positive things in your life, it won't change things that aren't transition related or related to you being transgender. And these things may be things that you didn't even know weren't related, or you weren't even aware were going on in the first place. Like, something for me is I've always been very self-conscious about my weight and being skinny, but since transitioning I have become a lot more self-conscious about it, and I have disliked it and wanted to change it a lot more than I did before. And if I'm honest, I really did hope for the opposite. Not necessarily in the sense of like putting on weight, although I did hope that testosterone would help me gain a bit of weight. It has a little bit, but it's not really made like a massive difference. But I think I just kind of hoped that I might be more comfortable in my body as a whole, and therefore be more comfortable with the fact that I'm skinny. But my body weight doesn't have anything to do with me being trans, so I don't feel any better about it, if that makes sense. I'm kind of learning to accept it, but that's been through like dealing with it as a separate thing rather than it being made better through transitioning. Anyway, I think that is everything. Essentially, transitioning just won't do everything. It can really do a hell of a lot of amazing things in terms of being trans and things that are like transition specific and transition related. But outside of that, it's not like a magic wand that will solve everything, unfortunately, but it can still do a lot. Good luck to everybody, whatever stage of transition you're in, or if you're supporting somebody through a transition, or if you're just here to learn more. You're doing fantastic. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Much love, bye!